Imagine being 22, full of hope, thinking that a hair transplant is going to solve all your problems. Now fast forward to 35, the excitement has faded, reality has set in, and this reality is so brutal. That's exactly what happened to Samir, who underwent a hair transplant in his hometown more than a decade ago. Today he's left with irreversible damage, poor hair growth, a ravaged scalp donor, and no more viable options left for repair. And this, my dear friends, is the true cost of a bad hair transplant. A price far beyond money. A bad hair transplant does not just cost you financially. It steals your confidence, your future options, and peace of mind as well. And here's why. In Samir's case, the transplanted hair never grew properly. They look patchy, thin, and unnatural. His donor area has been ruined forever, over-harvested to the point that it looks nothing less than a battlefield. And further hair loss has made it worse. Islands of hair left behind while the rest thinned out. And there are no easy fixes now. Wigs and hair pieces will not sit right on him, and even scalp micropigmentation does not offer him any respite because of the damage that has been done. Samir burnt his bridges with one bad decision. The lesson? A hair transplant is not a race, it's a strategy. If done wrong, there is no going back. You have burnt your bridges. A great hair transplant result requires timing, it requires planning, and above all, ethical medical advice. If you fall any of the following categories, hitting the pause button might be your best decision yet. If you are too young, less than 25 years of age, if your hair loss is still progressing rapidly, if you have a weak donor, if you have unrealistic expectations, if you are choosing a clinic based on cost alone, and if you are not emotionally ready. So dealing with these factors one by one, hair loss, as we all know, is progressive, meaning your pattern of baldness will evolve over time. It's not going to freeze at the point where you entered the clinic. So getting a hair transplant too early may lead to an unnatural hairline as hair loss continues, donor hair depletion before you even need it, a patchy scattered look as native hair sheds around the transplanted grafts. If your hair are actively shedding, a transplant is not going to stop the process. Instead, it can create islands of hair surrounded by bald patches, and it looks so much ugly. So before surgery, stabilize your hair loss. Stabilize it for at least 4 months with medical treatment as well as salient lifestyle modifications. Donor hair, after all, is a finite resource. Overharvesting, as seen in Samir's case study, can lead to a thinned out, scarred donor zone. There is no hair left for future procedures, and it gives a permanently unnatural look you can't hide. A transplant merely redistributes hair. It's your own hair. It does not create new hair. So if you expect full teenage hair density, if you expect zero maintenance post-surgery, if you expect a one-time solution with no future hair loss, you are setting yourself up for failure and extreme disappointment. A cheap hair transplant can cost you your future. There are always red flag signs you mustn't ignore. Clinics offering massive graft numbers at low prices, clinics that offer no long-term planning or skimpy preoperative counseling, rushed procedures in hair mills, clinics handling multiple patients in a day. A transplant is a permanent, life-changing decision. So it should not be a reaction to a recent breakup, job stress, or peer pressure. Nor should it be in response to family or societal expectations, and definitely not due to body dysmorphic syndrome. A hair transplant in a patient with body dysmorphia will lead to dissatisfaction, whatever the result might be. So be cautious. Samir's case is a stark warning. His scalp is scarred, over-harvested, and looks so unnatural. And now he has no options left. SMP or corrective surgery, revision surgery may help to some extent, but it cannot undo years of damage. And this is why you will find ethical clinics, ethical surgeons, sometimes saying no to a hair transplant. At Darlingbar's clinic, Dr. Akanksha Bhatti and I accept only 6 out of 10 cases. Not everyone is a candidate for a hair transplant, and that's okay. So, before you even consider a hair transplant, ask yourself these 6 questions. Am I over 25 with a stable hair loss pattern? Have I tried medical treatments before opting for surgery? Is my donor area strong enough for future procedures as baldness evolves? Do I have realistic expectations? Am I choosing a surgeon based on expertise and not price? And lastly, and very importantly, Am I emotionally prepared for the commitment? If you answer no to any of these, mind you, please reconsider your decision. For a bad hair transplant does not just cost money, it can cost you everything. Choose wisely, your future self will thank you for it. So thank you for watching again. If you have any questions about hair loss treatment for men and women, about hair transplants, your suitability for hair transplant, do join the membership of this channel and we'll continue this conversation over there. Thank you for watching. God bless you.